Hey, Redeeming Grace Church family, friends, and supporters. This is Pastor Josh here. I want to do two things in this video. One is just give you some announcements. And then as the last video of 2025, I just want to do some reflecting on this past year and maybe just the last 6 years that we have existed as a church. So first of all, I'm going to be gone this coming Sunday. I'm going to be preaching at West Center Baptist Church in Madison, South Dakota. So my whole family will be gone. And that church is looking to join the Dakota Baptist Convention, which we're a part of. I was president of the convention a couple years ago. And part of my part-time job, I have another job with the Dakota Baptist Convention. And as part of that job, I'm going to go preach for them as they consider joining the Dakota Baptist Convention. So that means my family will be absent this coming Sunday. And you'll have John Lane. He will be preaching. He and his family have been attending for the last few months. John has planted a couple of churches in the past. He runs a business now. And I've just been so encouraged by him and getting to know him. And just asked him if he still wanted to preach. And so we're going to let him preach. They are beginning the membership process, and I think it will be an encouragement to him to get to preach the word to you. I think you'll benefit from him. He's been an encouragement to me just in the short time we've gotten to know each other. So that's what's going to be happening this coming Sunday. The following Sunday, January 11th, that starts a big week for our church as we kick a lot of things off. That day at 9:15, we'll kick off our classes that happen before service. We're going to have a precept class, which is an in-depth Bible study methods class. I think it's going to be about 10 or 12 weeks. So it's not forever, just 10 or 12 weeks of intensive Bible study methods. That's going to be led by David Wilcox. I think we've already got 13 or 14 signed up, so we can only fit a couple more in the room that we have assigned for that. So if you're interested in that, sign up, let us know quick, because it will at some point. We'll have to not let people go in there anymore. Also, I'm going to do a Discover RGC seminar. That'll be about 5 or 6 weeks where we just walk through the membership packet. So this is good for those of you that are newer to our church and would just like to know where we stand on things, how things work, what it looks like to commit to this particular faith family. And so that will probably happen here in my cluttered office. We'll pull up some chairs and just enjoy a back and forth conversation through what the Lord is doing here at Redeeming Grace and what it looks like to be a part of it. And then also we'll be kicking off a prayer meeting, which will happen probably right up by the stage in the main sanctuary area. So you can come and join that. Those are the options. And then there's going to be nursery care and then kids classes, preschool, elementary, and youth classes for all ages. So you can bring the whole family and there'll be a place for them to learn and grow and study. And all the studies say that biblical literacy is in steep decline among Christians. And a big part of that is just simply not enough time together in the Word. And so this is the most convenient time to not take extra time from you or another trip out during the week, but to go ahead and just go, hey, come a little bit earlier on Sundays and invest in one another and invest in growing in God's Word. So I encourage you to take advantage of that starting January 11th. Also, I just want to let you know that every second Monday, we're going to have the Oxford House group that's here. Oxford houses are self-run, self-supported houses for individuals in recovery from substance use disorder. And so we've got several people that have been coming to our church that are part of the Oxford houses, and they're looking for a place to do their monthly meeting. There's just too many people to fit in one of the houses, and so they need a little larger space. They reached out to me, so every second Monday you'll see cars in the parking lot. They're meeting here to do their organization and fellowship time together, and we're happy to use our building. It doesn't require anything of us. They're going to open up and close, but I just want to let you know that will be happening, and we're grateful that this building isn't just going to sit empty but be used by good ministries here in town. And then also that week, January 13th, will be the first Tuesday of Life Inc. So every Tuesday for 8 weeks, starting January 13th, we'll be hosting people from our community that have needs, that have reached out to Love Inc., and they'll be directed to us to share a meal with us and then be part of equipping classes. And through those classes, they're learning life skills, they're developing connections, they're making progress in an area of their life. And at the same time, by coming to those classes, they're earning credit for furniture and other supplies that they can get through Love Inc. It's a wonderful ministry, and it's a great opportunity for people in our community who have needs to come and actually be in our building. And so I'm grateful for all of you that have signed up. All the meals are covered. I'm sure all of those that signed up for meals would love to have help. So if you want to come alongside them to help feed the 60 or so people that we will have here on Tuesday nights. And then also we just want to be very hospitable so that when people come into our church, they feel warm and invited and encouraged. And then they would know that this church cares about its neighborhood, cares about people. And then they might be more likely to come into a church when they've already kind of broken the ice, so to speak. So I would love for you to think about one or more Tuesdays investing in that. And I'll send out more info to those of you that have signed up to volunteer. So let us know if you want to be a part of that. So that kind of closes the announcement side of what's coming. And I just want to recount, I've made a bullet point list here right in front of me of some of the things that have happened in 2025. I do think this has been our best year as a church. I don't know how you really measure that, but just as I look back over the 6 years, I think this has been the one that has been most encouraging to me. At the beginning of 2025, we sent about 8 of us went to a missions conference together. That was just amazing to go to Cross Conference together. First time we had done that. We hosted our first mission team from Mississippi up from Meadowview, and they helped us put on our very first VBS, and we had a number of kids up from Lakota Homes, and we did a block party in the neighborhood, and just really got to meet a lot of neighbors and begin a lot of good relationships. I conducted 4 weddings over the course of this year, which is the most I've done in a year. So it's just amazing to see God bring people together and bring people into our church. And so we just celebrated a lot of weddings this year. We did renovations at the ISI house. One of our members had a heart for doing some floor replacement at the International Students House near the School of Mines. And so that's developed a real close partnership with them. And so we're really grateful that we got to bless them in that way. I also took a 7-week sabbatical. We had never been gone. My family had never been gone more than one Sunday. And so to have 7 consecutive was a little nerve-wracking in some ways. But also the church did great, and what a gift that was to me and my family. And we had good preachers that came, and when I came back, the church had grown. In fact, my first Sunday back was 110 people, which is the highest attendance I think we've ever had. And it's just continued to be strong since then. So, which made me wonder if maybe I was the one holding things back, and maybe I just need to get out of the way and let this church really run. So what a joy that was to get that time away with my family and to do all the cool things that we got to do and sort of rest the church leadership part of my brain. But then to come back and see that the church was fine, was thriving and doing really well, that was such a joy to have that this year. We had the most baptisms we've ever had this year. We've nearly doubled our membership since the beginning of the year. We run close to 100 in worship attendance. It fluctuates widely, as many of you probably know. We started a grief share this fall, and man, it's amazing to see how God is using grief share to help people heal. We've had Bible studies start, a senior adult group, a young adult group, which has been going for a while, men's Bible studies, and a women's book study. Home groups are up and running for the first time in years. Those have been hard to get going, and now we've got 2 that are doing really well. They're sustaining, and so we're really grateful for that. And even though this year has been our lowest giving year of the 6th, we also contributed over $35,000 to 11 missionaries, ministries, and churches over the course of this year, giving over 25% of what we received has gone back out. It feels to me like this year has been a little bit like 1 Corinthians 8, where Paul brags on the Macedonian churches that in a severe test of affliction, even though they have less than they normally do, it resulted in overflowing joy and generosity. And that's where our church has been this year. So I'm so proud of our church for how efficiently we use resources and how effective we have been to develop ministry partnerships and to bless that. While we ended up being more than $90,000 short on our budget, we still didn't let that stop us from being generous and investing in ministry beyond ourselves. And so we're praying that the Lord would resource us. We can't sustain that, obviously, going into 2026. And so we will. We've cut some very part-time staff, some stipends. That was painful. We've cut all of our outside support for right now, and we've just voted in a 3-month budget just to see if we have enough to sustain us for 3 months. And then at the end of that 3 months in 2026, in March, we'll reevaluate where we're at and see if we can continue in our current operation as a church for the next 3 months. So we're definitely in a give us this our daily bread that's kind of our prayer. That's the direction that we're headed. And so we're trying to cut expenses wherever we can. This building is very cold right now because we just want to be as efficient as we can to try to sustain our church through as we try to come back up in in our giving. And so be praying for that, and also be praying that we would grow in terms of leadership within the church, because we've got more people coming and a lot of care and needs, and I'm hitting my limits. And so I have ideas and initiatives that we'll do to try to equip and deploy more leaders to increase the capacity of our church. So pray that 2026 would be a year where the Lord supplies both physical resources and spiritual resources in terms of leadership and care. I would happily deal with a tight budget and a healthy, happy church like we do now than have significant resources in the bank and a very contentious, unhappy church. And so we're in a sweet spot in that regard, and just asking that the Lord would provide or give direction, that if I need to step off and do be more bivocational or just volunteer pastoring. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at as we think about where the Lord has brought us. As I reflect largely on our last 6 years, 2020, our very first year, was very hard. It was a very hard year. It was one of the most difficult years, and our church almost didn't survive. And then in 2021 was kind of a mixed year. There was ups and downs, back and forth, but it was at least better than the difficulty of 2020. 2022, I would say, as I reflect back, was a very strong year, one of our best years, a really good year. So we had a bad year, an okay year, and then a good year. And then 2023 was a very bad year. Church almost closed. And then in 2024 was an okay year, kind of mixed. There was some good things, there were some challenges, and then 2025 has been a very good year. So pray that in the midst of all these needs and everything, that pattern would not continue. Based on that pattern, 2026 would be another hard year, but pray that the Lord would just continue to bless us and continue to give a lot of fruitfulness to the life of our church. And I'm grateful for all the things that he is doing. So thanks for being a part of it. Whether you're a member of this church or you're a tender just kind of checking things out, or maybe you're kind of on the fringes a little bit watching from the outside. Maybe you're a supporter who prays for us and gives. We're so grateful for you. Thank you for being a part of this. Thanks for being a part of what Redeeming Grace Church is doing. And I'm grateful for all that the Lord has done over the last 6 years. And I'm looking forward as we enter into our 7th year, how the Lord might use us. And it's uncertain exactly what all he will do, but he's gathered a really sweet church in a very simple, nondescript building, a former bar with a cracked parking lot and a decaying porch and leaks and all kinds of things. Yet in the middle of this building is a very sweet little fellowship of very ordinary Christians who are struggling their way through life, but loving one another together and displaying and sharing the gospel together. So I love you. Thank you for a great 2025. Pray for a great 2026. And I hope to see you, well, not Sunday, but the following Sunday. Goodbye.